What's going on, guys? It's Justice here, and I'm going to be talking through Jax's vision for the future, a letter from the exec producer and creative director for RuneScape Dragonwilds. They've released a huge amount of information here to digest. I'm going to try my best to kind of flick through, and I'm going to pick out the areas that pique my interest and maybe give us a decent amount of information of the direction that they're planning on taking this game for the community as they lead up to their 1.0 release. To make it very clear, this is an early access release. They're taking a lot of feedback and they're taking their time, gradually bringing out little patches here and there. They do have a philosophy where they want to make major quarterly updates. So far, we haven't really seen that. They have just dropped a 0.8 patch, which is a new magic skill, as well as some defensive palisade walls and different build assets that you can use to create more defenses. But with how the game's currently balanced, that just isn't needed. You might as well just go and kill the goblins before they come into your base. Just quickly get to your base and just kill them. There are really no issues. I'm not sure if that'll be different on hard difficulty. It might be, but there isn't a huge attraction really to do hard difficulty right now either. That's probably an issue as well. But yeah, overall, we're going to talk through the roadmap. I did this with their initial roadmap, and now they've expanded that out significantly and being really transparent, which is definitely a good thing. So they're being really transparent with their plans. Let's delve into this. So I'm going to be using a mixture of the Steam post article, and I'll be going on their website as well to enlarge some of the images about the roadmap. Oh, and a very quick summary. I reckon if you wanted to delve into the game right now, I've got a lot of content on my channel. I'll be putting this in my Dragonwilds playlist, so feel free. Definitely, I recommend go and check out those videos if you're interested to see what gameplay. Me and Chewy have just done a 2.5 hour live stream last night on the 0.8 patch, really delving in to the magic skill. Chewy showing off the defensive fortress that he's made with the new palisade walls, and yeah, just closing thoughts and first impressions. So I really recommend to go and check out that live stream. There's timestamps in there to take you through different segments of what we're checking out there, and that is the type of structure, the type of format, sorry, that I would like to use more often. When a big update comes out or a game, I can plan like a structured stream around. I'd love to do that on YouTube and just play the game, live commentate, and keep the VOD and make it public. So that's there. Highly recommend go and check that out. Overall, the game in its current state, like kind of how it's launched, the magic skill, to be honest, probably should have came with the launch, but yeah, it wasn't ready. Maybe that's fine, but nothing's really changed with it except for 2 skills that in reality, it doesn't feel like that's a lot of dev time, you know, like to create those 2 skills. Maybe it is. It just, yeah, I don't think it is. It's definitely not a big enough update to kind of pull you back to play for a significant amount of time or to want to replay the game in a different way. It's not enough in that respect. But it is early access, and so, you know, they don't have any kind of requirement to kind of give big content drops to get people to continuously play. If anything, they're just releasing patches when they're ready. They do want, you know, enough content to bring you back to check it out within each quarter, and the next update's probably going to be the range skill. But we're going to look at the roadmap to see what their plan is with new biomes and expansions to the zones on the lead up to 1.0, and we'll study this and see if we feel like, you know, based on what's written, whether we feel like that's enough for a 1.0 release, and it probably will be. The game does need a lot of polishing though, but if you jumped in its current state, you'll probably get about 25 hours worth of fun minimum. If you play through the full main story quest lines, the side quests, and you train up some of the skills, you delve into it, you do some survival aspects, you do some skilling aspects, then you'll probably get 25 hours, and then that will go up if you're invested in building. But I think building, there still needs to be quite a bit of work to do with that on this game when you compare it to games like Enshrouded, but that's already been through its development curve, and it's got a ton more assets in there, a ton more build assets. Yeah, not a lot of gameplay on this video. I've not got a lot of time, so feel free to just listen in to me going through this if you haven't read it yourself, and I'll leave links to the article as well in the description. I mean, straight away, they're just providing reassurance that, you know, they tested the waters by releasing the game in its current state. They believe they've got enough kind of attraction and enough traffic that came into the game. They feel like they've got enough interest. So they are going to be growing their team with recruitment, and they're going to deliver updates and content to the game. So more hands will soon touch code, design art in order to in order to expand the game, right? So it sounds like they are going to be kind of recycling some of that money that has came from the purchases of this game into growing their team and recruiting their team to provide more updates, meaningful updates to reach that 1.0 mark and have the game really fleshed out, ready for a full release. It looks like straight away that's going to be coming Q3 2026. About a year and a couple of months or a year and a half away from full release. Their first big update is going to hit in December. That will be Fell Hollow. It's going to be an entire new biome. Farming skill and steel gear tier and crafting is going to be released with that new zone. Okay, let's just have a really quick study of the roadmap image here. So now that players have reached the shores of Ashenfall and established a foothold in the Wrath of Velgar, this is what comes next. So the magic skill has been released. We've reviewed that. Check out the live stream. Range skills coming on September the 9th. I mean, if it's ready, they probably should have just released both at the same time, really. There isn't enough content there to delve in and test just 2 skills in magic. Maybe they should have released both at the same time. Would have been a bit more interesting to check out, but whatever. The next big update is going to be Fell Hollow, Hungers of Imaru. Then we've got Dowdun Reach, Madness of Zamorak. Not sure what that is, so we'll read into that in a second. Umbral Sands sounds like it's a huge quest line or zone again. Scorned Wilderness also sounds like it's a new zone again. So let's read into what this is going to contain. So with Fell Hollow, it's got like an undead theme. We've got a new status effect called the Soul Rift. I'm not sure what that's going to do. Lesser Green Dragon mini bosses. Okay, I like the term mini bosses. We're going to be actually fighting a ton of green dragons like you first did when you delved into the wilderness, basically, in the original game. You've got core gear progression with the steel armor. We've got green dragon hide, which is going to be dropped by the green dragons. You'll then be able to make some ranged armor off that, maybe, or magic defense armor. Split bark armor. That is an absolute classic in the original game as well. I can imagine that looking pretty damn cool. Maybe that's going to be some sort of tanky magic armor. It is magic armor actually in the original game. So yeah, I guess you've got melee armor there, you've got ranged dragon hide, and you've got split bark for magic, right? So 3 new tiers of armor for each style. You've got a new weapon type, scimitars, make their deadly debut. Cool. I remember using a rune scimitar for a long time in the original game. And Death introduces a new quest line. We've got a new skill, farming. I am glad that they're releasing farming early. Maybe there's going to be tree farming, I don't know. It could be pretty cool. You've got to fight off the crop diseases, it seems. You can harvest everything from what you're growing. So you could grow herbs for useful potions. That may become more useful in hard difficulty, for example, where resistances are more prevalent. Yeah, I have no idea how in-depth this is going to be, because currently most of the skills only have 2 to 3 kind of major skill spells that are unlocked within them that kind of change how you interact with that skill, but they do obviously have progression in terms of what they unlock. They may just start off with herb farming and basic crops, for example, and then just keep adding to the skill over time as it reaches 99. But I think the way they're likely going to implement farming, if the crops can grow whilst you're outside of the game, that would promote kind of replayability. It's the type of skill that would bring you back to the game to check how your crops are doing. I'm not sure if that's how they're going to implement farming here, because this type of game is an action RPG. It's mostly focused on you actively playing and being within the game. It's not really like an idle game. And also, the servers aren't dedicated, so the servers aren't kind of like ongoing in the background at the moment. So I don't think they're going to be implementing it in a way where you plant your crops, you could log off and you log back in. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be highly active skilling, like the rest of the game currently in its current state. And honestly, think with the type of genre of the game, I think it probably should continue to focus on active gameplay at the moment. So we'll see how it goes. You know, you're not going to want to just keep farming for like 1 to 2 years of like your life. You know, it is an action survival RPG. You're supposed to be actively playing. engage with it for a few hours, get to the max level, enjoy it whilst it's there, and then maybe go back to it actively to quickly grow some herbs or whatever, to make some potions quite quickly, to then go on your next adventure. Like, I think it's supposed to be pretty active. You're supposed to feel rewarded pretty quickly in this game. Okay, so Down Dun Reach has a link to the Black Knight's Fortress. Now, if you've played the original RuneScape game, you'll remember that's roughly around north of Edgeville, I think, sort of west of Edgeville. And it's pretty cool content. I remember going there for the first time. You had to dress up with like, you had to put like a iron chain body on and a bronze helmet and disguise yourself as you had to disguise yourself as a guard to originally get into the fortress, and then you had to kill some knights and wear the Black Knight's armor. It was a really cool quest line. So they're going to have some quests here packed with lore tied to Zamorak and the fall of the continent's Black Knights and their fortress. So that could be pretty cool. It seems to be following the same pattern. Straight away, you can see the same pattern. So expansion 1 is new quest line. You have maybe some new status effects, some skilling additions. You have one new major enemy type, in this case green dragons, and in the second expansion it's going to be blue dragons. With that, they will drop Dragonhide, which makes green Dragonhide. In expansion 2, they will drop blue Dragonhide for armor. You've got split bark armor in expansion 1, you've got mystic robes in expansion 2, and again the melee armor tiers go up from steel to mithril. You know, there is a very clear pattern here. Whether that's going to be enough content to delve into, I think analyzing expansion 1 will be the test of that. You know, it'll be fine. All of this content being there for 1.0 release is enough content. You know, probably by the time we read through all these expansions. Is one expansion enough to bring you back to play it though, or are you going to want to wait for a couple? They are planning on expanding vault-based exploration, so that's a good thing. I really like the aspect of vaults. They have some mini puzzles in there. They can do a lot more with them though, and I think that's why I kind of want to go and check out Enshrouded, because I think me and Chewy are going to have an absolute blast on there, because they do have dungeons on that game which you can explore, and they have a ton of puzzles in that game. And of course, the iconic fishing skill. You've got to have fishing in a RuneScape game. You've got to have fishing in an MMORPG-like game, even though this isn't an MMORPG. But fishing, yep, I'm down for that. We'll see how kind of interactive they make that. You can see them doing some fun things with this because they've got skill spells in the game, such as Rock Explosion, where you can explode rocks to gather the resources from those rocks, to gather the ore a lot quicker than just mining. Obviously those skills have a CD, but you can imagine, you know, throwing dynamite into a lake or something and just getting a ton of fish. I actually just installed and played while I was on holiday, traveling on the plane. It's a nice day for fishing. Fantastic kind of indie game, highly recommend. It's just super chill vibes. Yeah, if you're traveling around or have like a Steam Deck, it's perfect for that. Okay, now Umbral Sands is sounding cool. So this place is warped by a cursed dragonkin tower. Now, we do have some dragonkin references in the game in its current state, because when you go into the vaults, you can unlock kind of like dragonkin statues. You can see them around holding effigies and various things like that. I love the dragonkin lore in the main game. I don't really follow it or remember it much. It's not like my strength when it comes to gaming, but it's just really cool. I love dragons anyway, and this is effectively just like a race which is like inspired by dragons. They have like a dragon-like head, but they're humanoid as well. And they're just really cool. Their history, their stories, the quest lines that are tied to them, really nice mix of combat and intrigue. So yeah, really looking forward to anything referencing Dragonkin. Again, following the exact same pattern. They're just releasing more dragons. It makes sense. It's called Dragonwilds, right? These are all mini bosses. I do wonder, up to this point, I haven't referenced anything in terms of a new boss. There's only been references to mini bosses. So whether the quest narrative arc leads to, you know, like the main story quest in these expansions may lead to another major dragon, I think it will. Alright, it looks like they're going to introduce a brand new survival mechanic in the expansion 3. So you've got to survive in the shade and you'll suffer in the sun, inspired by painful summer holiday sunburns. This whole maybe zone has a heat mechanic, and you're going to have to probably go into the sun for certain things, and it's going to make your health go down. Maybe you'll be able to eat certain types of food, farm certain types of food, you know, and then make that with the herbs that you farmed to be able to withstand the heat for longer. Again, same pattern here in terms of gear progression. You're going to have red dragons drop in red dragon hide to then craft into red dragon hide armor for ranged. You've got the adamant armor progression, so you're going to have different ores here to mine and rock explode in the Umbral Sands, and infinity robes. Infinity robes originally came from the Mage Arena on the original game, so I'm not sure what's going to actually drop the infinity robes here or what you're going to use to craft them. We'll just have to wait and see. I used to run around RuneScape, you know, for hours and hours and hours. That they used to be my go-to boots to wear because they just looked really cool, to be honest, on that original game. Let me know in the comment section if you did the same. So I'm looking forward to seeing the iconic infinity boots. Okay, so a new skill, Prayer, is going to be released. So the Prayer support skill brings rituals. So that's a bit of an inspiration there from the Necromancy skill, actually. Blessings. So blessings looks like they're going to go onto you, be able to bless yourself, maybe your party members. It sounds like that's going to buff you. And then base empowerment. Okay, that's an interesting one. So you're going to be able to build altars, make offerings to those altars, and channel effects that boost you and your base defenses. Okay, so boosting me makes sense. Again, base defenses right now, it's really not dangerous at the moment. You can defeat a raid very quickly. You probably can on hard difficulty as well, but I've not really tested that. It probably is a lot more difficult on there. Again, defenses, you really need an argument to want to defend, so probably only on hard difficulty for that one. But being able to channel effects to boost you, that does sound interesting. Again, some sort of aura buff effect that will last for a certain duration of time. So that's very similar to how you trained Prayer originally on RuneScape. Killing enemies, they drop bones, you take the bones, you bury them. You can sacrifice relics that you collect, and you can recharge prayer points through the ritual. Okay, cool. The Wilderness. Oof, okay, they're bringing the Wilderness to Dragonwilds. So the Wilderness is extremely iconic for anyone who's played RuneScape. You'll understand how, you know, legendary this entire area used to be. So on the original RuneScape game, as soon as you passed a certain border and you went into the northern realm of the entire map, that entire northern realm was referred to as the Wilderness. You used to be able to, it was effectively a dangerous zone. So if you died, it's effectively a dangerous zone. So other players could PK you. It's a PvP area. The enemies would be very dangerous. It'd be very difficult to go and get your items back. Yeah, it was just huge. It was massive in terms of the PvP realm of the game. Obviously, Dragonwilds, you can have PvP activated. You can toggle that on, and you've got that permanently on wherever you are in the world if you want to have PvP. It's a broken land for a final stand. So this shattered domain is ruled by Queen Kuldra, the 5-headed black dragon. Right. So it's interesting because when you load up the game right now, you actually see an image of the 5-headed black dragon, the God Eater. So it's already kind of like teasing us there. So dragons of every kind roam the wilderness, and the land itself is hostile. So I reckon, you know, you'll play through these earlier expansions where you've got green, blue, and red dragons, and then the Scorned Wilderness will have other variants of this. So you'll have elite, brutal variants of those dragons, including the lesser versions in this entire zone. So it's going to be extremely dangerous. It looks like they're going to be introducing some player agency here. They're saying the choices and the cost are yours alone. So whether they're going to try and like create it where it's not as linear in this zone, and you will interact with NPCs at the pace and the order that you wish, and eventually it'll lead to killing the Queen Kuldra. You know, that could be cool. Again, following the same pattern, again, you've got rune armor being unlocked. You've got black dragons coming into play here. Unless you have to just kill, maybe you have to kill Queen Kuldra to get the black dragon hide. They may have black lesser dragons though. Yeah, lesser black dragons, sorry, it says there. So you'll be able to make ranged black dragon hide armor. Again, really iconic there, reference to the original game. Wild Knight robes, they're a brand new type of robe. We do not have those in the original MMORPG versions of the game. We've got rare resources in this area. You've got new base building assets. and the race for Rune Knights. Okay, yeah, I guess it's just you trying to get Rune Armor, basically. All right, so let's see how they're going to introduce agility here. So you'll be able to sprint, leap, and challenge yourself across the world to earn XP and unlock new ways to move. So that does sound a little bit like rooftop agility, but it's obviously not going to be as like straightforward or grindy as that. They're probably going to... It'd be cool if they just introduce or release and change the existing zones in the game when they release agility to allow you to interact with the game differently, and by doing so you will earn agility experience just by going through and doing the other activity that you were planning on doing anyway. Because this is an action RPG, you are actively having to engage with movement controls, and so by doing so you'll train agility. This, yeah, like I predicted, it will improve your stamina, and therefore it, maybe it reduces the drain rate. That could be good. It unlocks magical movement spells. Again, really cool. Right now we've got Wind Step, which I think is a really fantastic spell. You activate it. It's like an air spell, and you can leap higher. You can kind of delve. You can kind of fall off cliffs and just kind of nice gravitate down to the bottom. You can kind of just like float down. It's really good. And take on agility routes for big rewards. Okay, so maybe they are going to introduce certain routes to get to a certain area, and you'll take that route to train the skill rather than taking maybe a different route. I hope they're maybe shortcut routes. I'm not sure. The map isn't absolutely massive, so we'll just see how this plans out. I don't think I want to be actively just doing, let's say, an agility route over and over again on a game like this. I think I'd like it to be built in. So they plant these areas, these routes smartly, so you're already kind of going in that direction. So by the time, let's say they say this is a 1.0 full release, agility will be in the game. These different agility routes will already be in the game, or that's for bigger rewards. But the sprint, leap, and challenges and different ways to different magical movement spells and etc. will already be in the game. Let's say when people start this from the get-go. Basically, it'd be nice to retroactively, if they retroactively build in these methods of training agility, in the earlier zones. So people are naturally leveling up, they're improving their stamina, they're unlocking new ways, new movement spells, etc. as they level and play through the game. That would be good if they do that. A nice obvious quality of life upgrade here, including the ability to craft directly from nearby chests rather than having to pull those items into your bags, making your base feel more seamless and functional. And again, as they're doing this, they're just going to continuously optimize the performance, better frame rates, lower spec support, more customizable graphic settings, including lighting, contrast, and exposure options. So that's good. And a big obvious one there, obviously bug fixing, always ongoing, always a priority. So we've got some important other references that they want to keep balanced as they release these new expansions to the game. Power progression, they want to keep that balanced within the game's pacing. I think that is a really important thing. People did feel a little bit weird getting the Abyssal Whip, for example, with whilst wearing bronze armor. It did feel a little bit weird. So that's an example of kind of what you're unlocking and how that feels with the game's pacing. They want it to feel more akin to RuneScape. Again, they've just got to be careful how they do that, because obviously, RuneScape is an MMORPG. It's extremely grindy. It's going to feel different and more rewarding due to that grind in different ways. But trying to keep it, maybe fast tracking, obviously, removing the grind, but keeping the same kind of linear unlocks. That's how they would keep it more akin to RuneScape. Do you want that or not? Let me know in the comment section. Skill caps obviously increasing to 99. Introducing more iconic skills with familiar gameplay loops along the way. That's fine. My major concern with this is currently most skills only have kind of 2 major spell unlocks, and then they both have an upgrade, 1 upgrade each. If they follow that pattern and the next 49 levels, they only have 2 other skills with 2 upgrades, that's 4 in total for an entire 99 skill. Using magic as an example, obviously if you use a different type of rune, your spells are going to be different. You have a different light attack combo, you have a different heavy attack. So that is adding some depth to the combat as an example in that skill. But yeah, I think they could do more. They could add more skill variety, more skill unlocks on those trees. So I think this is one of the major strengths of the RuneScape IP are the quests. They have a certain type of humor, they have heart in them, they have really unique storylines. And so just introducing more of that in a really effective way to teach us more about the lore of this world, the lore of the original RuneScape world as well, and just bringing it into the Ashenfall. Those references hold strong for me. It's really cool seeing those references. And so I would really like to see more of that. World events with classic chaos, that could be pretty awesome, especially if they do up the server sizes and get a ton of people in there just doing huge world events. Maybe having those world events on dedicated servers, you go in there with your armor that you've earned from your world, and you engage with a ton of other players, in world events. That could be really cool on dedicated servers. Sea Shanty 2 is officially in the works, so they are, wanting to release more music tracks into the game, remastered classics. 100% for that. The nostalgia hit is real when you hear those songs. So their main goal here for leading up to the 1.0 release is to create the full arc of the Cauldra saga. So getting to the point where you're going to be killing the Queen Black Dragon, right? It's to create a compelling cooperative survival game full of rich content, shared adventures with your friends, and lots of different dragon types to slay along the way. So what we've read through there and the pattern that we can see with each expansion release, it does sound like they're going to reach that goal, and that will be a really big chunk of a game. That would easily be 100 hours worth of content, like easily. If they release that and continuously polish it and fix all the bugs before 1.0 release, this game is going to be in a really, really great state to have that cooperative survival adventure with your friends, right? You can obviously play it solo as well, but their obviously main goal is to have that co-op, is to have a cooperative adventure. And I can definitely personally see that happening with me and my mate Chewy, like having a ton of fun and getting well over 100 hours worth of content there with those expansion releases. Okay, there is something quite exciting here. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But once they complete that saga, they are looking and exploring maybe a longer term ambition. They want to expand on the core Dragonwilds survival experience with higher player counts, larger worlds, and exciting new ways to engage with dragons. So that's kind of cool. And they could probably just build that into the game when it's in that current state, in that 1.0 state. These other features are making it sound like a different game. So they also want to focus on social interaction, trade, and sandbox fun. That is alluding to, almost like a different genre. Right now, you can do that in your own worlds, right? You can drop an item, you can pick it up. So trade, I'm not sure if that's between worlds, in dedicated servers. I'm not sure what they're thinking there. It almost sounds like a different game though, and they just want to experiment with the sandbox as a whole. Sounds interesting. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what that relates to. Obviously, people's minds might go to, oh, they're going to make it more like an MMO, right? We'll just see what their plan is there in terms of how expansive that might be. And they are currently codenaming that the Shadows of Ashenfall. All I'm going to say is thank you very much to Jayex and the team for sharing this amount of information, being very transparent in their roadmap and their development plans over the course of the next year and a half leading up to the 1.0 release. It's been really interesting reading into this. I'm very excited to check out the different expansions when they land. Next time I play will be expansion 1 with Fell Hollow. It looks like there's going to be, a decent chunk of content there. And I'm a really strong believer with them trying to release a compelling cooperative experience. I think structuring it around a decent main story quest with some of those side quests is a good way to do it. It gives us a bit of framework to kind of play the game through and engage with the other skills that you release around a main story quest line. Like, I really enjoy that concept at the moment. So yeah, looking forward to the future content. Let me know what you guys think to this roadmap in the comment section below. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like the video so it spreads across the YouTube realm, and subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks guys for listening, really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your take on this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.